Imagine a world where the age of discovery never started from Lisbon in Portugal. No Vasco da Gama charting a sea route to India, no Pedro Álvares Cabral landing on the shores of Brazil, and no Portuguese empire expanding to continents. What if Portugal, the small nation in Europe, had never existed? Portugal's emergence as a global superpower started in the 15th and 16th centuries. Its explorers opened sea routes to Africa, Asia, and South America, establishing trade networks and colonies that influenced global economics, politics, and cultures. But what if Portugal had never risen or never existed at all? How would the absence of Portugal have altered the course of history? This will really blow your mind. Firstly, without Portugal, the western part of the Iberian Peninsula would likely have remained under the control of neighboring kingdoms such as Leon or Castile. The unique Portuguese identity, language, and culture might have been absorbed into Spain, potentially leading to a more diversified Iberian culture. Also, Portugal's early advancements in navigation and shipbuilding, led by figures like Prince Henry the Navigator, were instrumental in the Age of Discovery. Without Portugal's initiatives, European exploration of the African coast and the search for sea routes to Asia might have been delayed by decades, altering the timeline of global trade and colonization. In the 1500s, Pedro Álvares Cabral claimed Brazil for Portugal. Without Portugal, Brazil might have fallen under Spanish control or been colonized by another European power, such as France or the Netherlands. This shift would have significant implications for the linguistic, cultural, and political development of South America. Today, Portuguese is spoken by over 250 million people worldwide. The absence of Portugal would mean the Portuguese language, as well as Lusophone cultures, in countries like Angola, Mozambique, and East Timor would not exist. The global cultural landscape would be totally very different. What do you guys think? Which languages would have been spoken here? Furthermore, Portugal was a major player in the Atlantic slave trade, establishing early trade routes and colonies that facilitated the forced migration of millions of Africans. Without Portugal's involvement, the scale and dynamics of the slave trade might have been different, potentially altering the demographic and cultural compositions of the Americas and Africa. Portuguese explorers and missionaries were also among the first to spread Christianity to parts of Africa and Asia. The absence of Portugal could have delayed or changed the nature of religious missions in these regions, affecting the spread of Christianity and the cultural exchanges related to it. Also, Portugal's establishment of trade routes and colonies created a global network that connected Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Americas. Without Portugal, the development of these networks would have been different, potentially affecting the flow of goods, ideas, and technologies across continents. Portugal's rivalry and treaties with Spain, such as the Treaty of Tordesillas, shaped colonial boundaries and influenced European politics. Without Portugal, the balance of power among European nations might have shifted, leading to different alliances, conflicts, and colonial arrangements. Portuguese major advancements in cartography, navigation, and ship design were at the forefront of maritime technology back in the days. The absence of Portugal's contributions could have slowed technological progress in these fields, impacting exploration and trade. Portuguese literature, music, and art have enriched global culture. Without Portugal, the world would lack the unique expressions found in fado music, the writings of Luis de Camões, and other cultural treasures. Even athletes such as Cristiano Ronaldo have shaped the modern world forever. Moving back to geography, Portuguese dominance in the Indian Ocean was vastly seen, beginning with Vasco da Gama's voyage in 1498, restructuring trade between Europe and Asia. Without Portugal, the spice trade might have remained in Arab and Indian hands longer, delaying European access to these valuable goods. The Dutch and English East India companies may have risen earlier or in a different form, altering colonial competition and economic structures in Asia. Portugal also established some of the earliest European colonies and trading posts along the African coast. Without Portugal, Angola and Mozambique would have likely been colonized by other powers, but possibly later and under different economic or political terms. The timing and nature of European involvement in Africa, particularly regarding slavery and resource extraction, could have looked very different and have a major impact on the African continent. Portugal also had influence in India. Goa, Daman, and Diu were small but symbolically powerful Portuguese holdings in India, serving as gateways for Christianity and European culture. Without Portugal, the Catholic Church's early missions in India and the spread of Indo-Portuguese culture, architecture, and cuisine wouldn't exist. The Mughal Empire might have engaged with different European players earlier, possibly allowing the Dutch or French to gain a strategic edge in India before the British rise. Jumping to South America, had Brazil not been claimed by Portugal, it might have fallen under French or Dutch control, or even Spanish. Both France and the Netherlands made attempts to establish footholds in Brazil, and in a Portugal-less scenario, they might have succeeded. This alternate history could result in a French-speaking or Dutch-speaking Brazil. The Amazon rainforest's fate and Brazil's independence could have taken entirely different paths in the course of history. Portuguese exploration to different continents helped transform global cuisine. It was the Portuguese who spread chili peppers from the Americas to India and Southeast Asia, changing the very essence of those food cultures. They introduced tea to Europe, and their colonies became vital. Think peri-peri chicken in Mozambique or vindaloo in Goa. Without Portugal, iconic dishes and ingredients might never have developed or reached the places we associate them with today. In the mid-1500s, Portuguese traders were the first Europeans to reach Japan, bringing firearms, Christianity, and new trade goods during the Nanban, Southern Barbarian period. Without Portugal's early contact, Japan's initial exposure to European technology and religion would have been delayed or come through the Dutch or Spanish, most likely. Macau was also a critical Portuguese outpost in East Asia, serving as a hub between China, Japan, and the West for centuries. Without Portugal, this unique fusion city would not exist. Portugal may be a small country on the edge of Europe, but its historical impact far outweighs its size. It wasn't just the first European power to explore the open seas, it was the country that lit the fire of globalization across most continents. Its absence would leave us with a world less organized from the world we know of today. Just imagine a Brazil that speaks French, for instance. To remove Portugal from the map is removing a vital part of world history. Thank you guys for making to the end. If you made it here, I would appreciate if you could subscribe. And to support more long-form videos coming, make sure to also become a channel member. Drop a comment on the country we should do next. It has been Outerside. Peace.